win today, they're the champions, and that means that Kansas City will play in the wild card next weekend. If the Raiders lose to San Diego, Kansas City is the champion. The Raiders will be the wild card. But the big story here, the San Diego Chargers starting their rookie quarterback, taken in the 6th round of the draft, John Friesz of Idaho. That's a Division I AA team, playing in his first regular season NFL game and his first start, of course.
Well, this is a good opportunity for him. You know, the Chargers are 6-9 out of the playoffs, and so many times with young quarterbacks, they never get the opportunity to show what they can do in a game of some magnitude. So in this case, the Chargers afford this young man the opportunity to play.
However, Marty Schottenheimer, the head coach of Kansas City in NFL Live, our pregame show, said the Chargers are sending a message to their players, and he went on to say that message is that a win today is not that important.
Well, you can argue it any way you want to, but the bottom line is it's none of Marty's business. Evidently, Bobby Beathard and head coach Dan Henning decided this is what they wanted to do, and you can see by the smile on his face, he is very ready to go. Charlie, he told us he wasn't nervous at all.
He said last night, he said, I don't get nervous. I suspect. Were you nervous at your first start?
Yeah, I was. No doubt about it.
No, now you told me earlier that you weren't. You've changed your mind.
Well, we're on the air now.
Kittrick Taylor and Donnie Elder are the return man, as San Diego won the toss. They will be receiving, and they will start from their own 20-yard line. And a look at San Diego's offense. Their offensive line has allowed only 19 sacks this year. This is the second best in the NFL to Miami's 16. Backs and receivers, the big question mark, of course, the rookie quarterback, John Friesz. In passing situations, the running back and the tight end will come out, and Ronnie Harmon, Mr. Third Down, and Craig McEwen will come in. And a moment to remember for John Friesz.
Come on, kid, go deep.
And he gives the ball to Rod Bernstein. And he has a couple of yards to the 22. It'll be second down. The Raiders defense, their front seven, well, they'll be putting a lot of pressure on the rookie quarterback, Howie Long and company. Plan to be in his face all afternoon. On passing downs, Bob Golick and the two linebackers will come out. Aaron Wallace with 9 sacks comes in along with Gary Lewis and Torrin Dorn. They join a secondary that, unlike the Raiders of the past, continues to play more zone than man. And on second down, again, the Chargers stay on the ground. And it is Bernstein again with the call. It'll be third down and 4 yards to go. Will they finally throw here?
I don't think there's any doubt about it. Sure, I'm surprised that they take Rod Bernstein out in this situation. You know, he was an All-American tight end during his days at Texas A&M, and I always felt like his forte was catching the ball. Dan Henning has told us he is an outstanding runner, and as we witnessed throughout the year, whenever Butts needed a blow, he did come in and make some good runs, but I think he'd be very effective for them on third downs as well.
Third down and 4. Howie Long told me yesterday we will not blitz him that much, but we will come strong with our front four, and they do. And the pass is caught as he goes to Anthony Miller. And Miller has the first down at the 33-yard line. Torrin Dorn with the tackle.
Very conservative play, but a nice job getting the confidence into the young man early. Anthony Miller, of course, an all-pro wide receiver for the Chargers and one of the 3 that's going to the Pro Bowl. You can see he's looking at him all the way. Anthony Miller is able to shake Torrin Dorn and get up the field for the first down. A confidence builder definitely for that young man Friesz.
And what does John Friesz feel about it when he was told on Christmas Eve? Naturally, it was a great Christmas present. And here is Bernstein to the right, across the 40 and close to the first down. Interesting, when you ask Dan Henning, would Bernstein be with the Chargers next year? There had been some talk about, he said, no question about it, the way that he runs the ball. And we want him to stay healthy just to see how great he can be.
Well, he was also very realistic to the fact that this is the last year of his contract. And so that's something that's thrown into the mix. And, of course, in this day and age of holdouts and deferred payments and things of that nature, that might complicate things. But I think that when you have somebody like Marion Butts, who obviously is the bellwether of their offense, Rod Bernstein might want to go elsewhere so he could be the main man.
It is a first down. Marion Butts, of course, with that foot injury, in civilian clothes.
The shoulders on him. No wonder there's safeties around the league who are frightened.
They're glad that the football is in. First down, San Diego. No score. Opening drive. Cox is in motion. Bernstein looking for a hole, and he moves to the 49-yard line. So it'll be second down and around 3 to go for the first down.
One of the things that Bernstein does so well, interestingly enough, is at 6'3" and 238 pounds. You don't expect a man of this size to be able to have the sweet feet that he does. Look in the hole the move he makes here, planting off the left foot, cutting upfield, and the only man in his way is Eddie Anderson. Otherwise, it might have been a lot larger gain.
The ball at the San Diego 49-yard line, opening drive. Friesz, the rookie quarterback, has completed 1 of 1, and he'll be throwing here. And it's a little tough. So the pass to Anthony Miller is incomplete, and we'll bring it back. It'll be third down.
As I can tell you, you're going to say, yeah, Friesz overthrew that. Many times the receiver will misjudge it and go for the one-handed grab. It appeared to me that that ball was not that far overthrown. Take a look. Can he extend 2 hands here? Watch what he does here. He just goes with the one hand. If he'd have gone with 2 hands, he might have had a shot at that, but he just misjudged the distance of the ball.
Dan Henning told us last night that Tolliver is our best quarterback. But with Friesz, our best team will be on the field at the start of the ballgame.
And he also said of the 3 quarterbacks that they have on the roster, this young man is the most accurate.
And here is Harmon. And he's got the first down. Cuts back at the 40. He's to the 35, the 25. And brought down at the 10-yard line by Gary Lewis. A gain of 41 yards, converting on 3rd and 3.
Terrific job by the left side of the line. Misdirection play. They anticipated the throw, and there was nobody there. The Raiders are in their 6 defensive back mode. There he cuts upfield. There's nobody out there. There's no contain. Now, once he breaks this and cuts back, there's nobody in the middle of the field. He breaks the tackle by Eddie Anderson, and he puts on the Jets, but Gary Lewis was just a little bit too fast for him right here. Nice job on the right of your screen, if you're able to notice, by Nate Lewis, enabling him to get an extra 10-15 yards downfield.
10-yard line, first down, goal to go. Here's Bernstein. And he'll go to about the 7-yard line, where it'll be second down. Billy Ray Smith, when we talked to him yesterday, this has been our problem. We get inside the 20. We cannot score. The coaches also told me this is one of the reasons they made the quarterback change in this area, that Tolliver has made the big mistakes in several ball games.
Well, I think that's one of the crucial issues. You hear it all the time, the ability to score in the red zone. But, that's a gap of 4 points every time. He pointed out that in the first Raider game, that in the first 3 drives, both the Raiders and the Chargers scored. But in the Raiders' case, it was touchdowns. In the Chargers' case, it was field goals, hence the score of 21-9.
Second down, goal to go. That 41 yards by Harmon, longest run against the Raiders this year. And Bernstein is decked by Bob Golick, the new father. A couple of weeks ago, I asked him how it was with his daughter, Jenna Catherine. He said on Christmas Day, it was great. We opened the small presents. And then she started crying, and we had to stop, and we had to go feed her. Said it bothered me because I wanted to get to the big presents, because that's what I was been looking forward to.
Yep. Any chance that little girl will get spoiled?
Oh, you know she will be.
No more so than your granddaughter.
Yeah, right. No more than Morgan.
The Raiders needed to be a little bit more, the Chargers rather, needed to be a little more creative there on second down.
Third and goal. And here is Harmon, and he is in trouble. He gets around the corner. He'll go to about the 1-yard line, where he is knocked out by Eddie Anderson. And now the decision, you're out of the race. Do you go for the 3 points? You go for the touchdown?
I think in this case that you really do want to go for the field goal, and that's what they're going to do. The reason I say that is because you want to have a confidence builder. You don't want to come out of this empty. There's a good chance, because of the ability that the Raiders have. The Raiders have only given up 4 rushing touchdowns all year. So you want to come away with points in this circumstance. I like this call by Dan Henning.
And John Carney has hit the last 9 in a row. This would be from 19 yards. And it is good. And San Diego, an opening drive of 80 yards, actually an opening drive of 79 yards, leading to the 19-yard field goal. They're up 3-0. along with Todd Christensen. Friesz looked pretty good on that opening drive.
Yeah, I think he was very effective. And, of course, if that running game continues to be effective as it was in that first series, maybe there won't be so much pressure on him.
Well, I talked to George Blanda, and he said on the first start that he had the Bears against Detroit. George is here watching the game. I'll finish that story right after the kickoff. As the Raiders return the ball from the 1-yard line, and that is Jamie Holland, who brings the ball out. And now we have the pushing and shoving, and you expect this to happen today. Maybe not quite this soon. Billy Ray Smith said of San Diego, there's true hatred between these two teams, and this is a chance to cost the Raiders a divisional title and to screw up their next 2 weeks.
And you know what? If the Raiders are smart, they wouldn't get into this. And the reason I say that is because, not just because of the penalty factor, but the last thing you want to do is you don't want to fire up a team who has the potential to fold up their 10 and go home. Right now, they're down 3-0, and now they've given them some more incentive. They've angered
We have offsetting dead ball fouls. First down.
Jerry Markbright with the usual offsetting fouls.
Not able to get the number, but I really mean that. And what I say is because the Chargers, obviously, in this situation, you know, they're up 3-0. They got a little something going for them. Don't give them any more incentive, but the Raiders have just done that.
And so the Raiders will go to work at their own 25-yard line, first down. Steve Smith and Marcus Allen, the running backs. Schroeder, of course, is the quarterback. And Smith, the fullback, for 6, maybe 7 yards on the play. It'll be second down. The Raiders' offense, their offensive line is led by the center, Don Mosbar, who is like having a coach on the field. Backs and receivers, Jay Schroeder is having a great year. Wide receiver Willie Gault is looking for his first 1,000-yard season, and Bo Jackson is waiting in the wings. On passing downs, Steve Smith will come out, and Tim Brown will come in. Second down. Chargers lead 3-0. And here is Smith. He's got the first down across the 40 to the 48-yard line. San Diego's defense, their defensive line has been decimated by injuries, and today we will see what they call the dollar. Gerald Robinson will come out, Henry Rolling will come in, and from this set you can see that San Diego will have 2 defensive linemen to go with 5 linebackers. Their secondary is led by number 22, Gil Byrd. He has 21 interceptions over the last 3 seasons. That is the most in the NFL. First down for the Raiders. Gault is in motion. Schroeder to throw. Has all the time in the world, and the pass is incomplete. And he was looking for Willie Gault. And it'll be second down and 10. And there was a flag dropped on the far side of the field at the line of scrimmage. And the Raiders were offside. 7:13 time remaining first quarter. San Diego up 3-0.
Number 88, offense, lined up offside, penalty declined, second down.
Let's take a look at the 10-minute ticker. Finals, Cincinnati wins, closer than they thought. Washington over Buffalo, and Atlanta downs Dallas. San Francisco in another close one. The Giants in a squeaker with New England, of all people. And Miami defeats Indianapolis. And in the other games going on along with ours, only Denver has the 3-point lead over Green Bay. And Schroeder goes deep, and it is knocked away. Good defensive play by Sam Seal.
That certainly was, and don't tell me that Sammy Seal doesn't want to come back to the Coliseum and play some great football. Sammy Seal, a former Los Angeles Raider, had outstanding coverage there on Mervin Fernandez.
Let me finish my George Blanda story as you take another look. We'll go
doing a good job running right with him stride for stride, and at the right time looks back towards the ball and bats it away. Nice job there by Sammy Seal, who, by the way, is an outstanding dominoes player and basketball player. This guy can really play. Costas could learn something from watching Sammy Seal's touch.
Gossett could learn something from watching my touch.
Good point.
Schroeder again with lots of time, and the pass is incomplete as he goes to Fernandez.
Once again, I don't understand right there. You saw Mervin Fernandez go for it with one arm, and he's in the middle of the field. And I realize that's where you're going to get hit, but you can't go for it with just one hand like that. Mervin has to go after it. Take a look. You'll get a chance right in the middle of the field. Watch 86. Now watch. He doesn't need to go with one. Why can't he go with two? Of course, he saw the guy coming, and that's tough. But that's what you get paid for. You got to go in the middle of the field. You got to go for it with two hands, and Mervin didn't.
And so on fourth down, Jeff Gossett will be kicking. Kittrick Taylor is the deep back on the return. And the up back is Darren Nelson.
Last week, Kittrick Taylor went 55 yards for a touchdown.
And Nelson takes it at the 11. And is decked at the 16. 42 yards on the kick, a 4-yard return, 6:25 left to go. First quarter, Chargers lead it 3-0.
Charlie, I know this is a little bit early in the game to guess, but so far the offensive line of the Chargers is really manhandling the Raider defensive line. They're opening up some real gaps for the runners, and Bernstein's taking advantage of it.
When we talked with Courtney Hall, the left guard, we asked him, what might be different about this ball game. He said, well, we'll have to hold our blocks a little bit longer than usual when we throw the ball. We won't be throwing that ball but about 30% of the time. That's what he said. And then like the other veterans we talked to, he said, that's what we drafted him for. Let's see if the youngster John Friesz has it. And he throws right side, and the pass is complete at the 46-yard line. And he threaded that one into Nate Lewis.
That was a big-time throw right there. Caught it in the zone right between, you said, Lewis and Eddie Anderson. That was a terrific throw. A short corner route here. Friesz looks to the middle of the field, now comes off to your left, his right. Now watch how he lays this in there, just over the fingertips of Lewis, and there's Eddie Anderson coming over. He actually got a little bit of a piece of it. Nice concentration on the part of Lewis, who is playing with a cast on his hand. And look at the time that Friesz is getting.
Like Paul said, they have to hold their blocks a little bit longer. It's a first down San Diego at their own 45-yard line. A little play action, and then he goes and he overthrows. And in reality, I think that he was, you don't want to have too many accolades for the youngster. He's going to Anthony Miller. I think he was putting it over the coverage, which was very good, that only Miller could get to it, or it would be like he was throwing it away.
Well, he threw that one a little bit too soon. He's a little too anxious on that one. Getting back to the offensive line, it's interesting. Every single offensive lineman that we talked to, Charlie, gave credit to Alex Gibbs, the offensive line coach, for the job that he's been doing and coordinating a lot of the zone blocking and some of the particular nuances that he has. Ironically enough, the offensive line coach last year for the Los Angeles Raiders was Alex Gibbs.
Second and 10. Lewis is in motion. And here's the handoff to Lewis on the reverse. And he is to the 47-yard line of the Raiders.
So many times, Charlie, you tell your runner, stay behind your blocker, stay with him. He waited a little bit too long. Take a look. You see Lewis right there. He's in motion. Now he pivots back. Good-looking play right here. Now he's following Derek Walker, and he waits too long. Right here, he hesitates. He's waiting, and Alex Gordon, the outside backer, makes a terrific play to run him down. Alex Gordon was an acquisition that they got from the New York Jets, a former second-round pick that the Jets were very high on. Apparently he underachieved there on Long Island, and now the Raiders feel like he's going to be an outstanding backer for them.
Third down and short. Friesz pass complete. First down.
This is great. This is great. The reason I'm so excited about this is Steve Hendrickson.
Yeah.
He's the former linebacker. Special teams standout with the San Francisco 49ers last year. They put him on Plan B, and they brought him over. He was a former number 56 for those of you that happen to follow the San Diego Chargers. But when Joe Caravello, their H-back, was hurt earlier in the season, they went with Steve Hendrickson. Take a look out here. Catching passes. What the heck? I'm a middle linebacker. What am I doing? Look at this. Cut up field. Hey, actually looks pretty good.
He does.
13-yard gain for the youngster who's got to be excited.
And his first reception of the season. And a first down. At the 35. Raider territory. This one is intercepted. Mike Harden picks it up.
promised myself I wouldn't use this phrase, rookie mistake, but this really is a bad decision. This is a seam route to the tight end. And Arthur Cox is a good pass catcher, but that's not his route. That's a downfield route of around 20 to 30 yards, and Arthur Cox, at 280-plus pounds, is not the guy that should be down there, and that's not who Friesz should look to. He hung it up in the air, and Hart was able to pick it off. And this is one of the most frustrating things for a young quarterback, too, right there. You come over there and you get second-guessed. Everybody explains to you exactly what you should have done.
And you saw Billy Joe Tolliver there in the shot. The first phone call that Friesz got after the announcement was made was from Billy Joe Tolliver. His statement, I'm with you 100%. Let's go get him.
Class guy.
He is.
Billy Joe Tolliver's a competitor, but he understands the ramifications of this move, and he didn't take it personally.
1 minute and 58 seconds. That is the time remaining in the first quarter. San Diego with a 3-0 lead. John Carney with a 19-yard field goal that was off of the opening drive. This was the second drive of the Chargers, and the interception by Mike Harden. And the Raiders have the ball at their own 24-yard line for the second time in the first quarter.
You know what, Charlie? I hope that throw doesn't affect this young man's confidence, because quite frankly, in the first two drives, I thought he's done an outstanding job. Take a look from the back. You'll see a little bit ill-advised. He throws it up there, throws it up for grabs. Mike Harden able to come over and make the play.
And I wrote down what Dan Henning told us last night. If he completes 15 of 25, 180 yards, 2 sacks, and 1 interception, he will have a very good ball game.
Well, he's well on his way to that. In fact, he'll probably surpass it at the rate he's going. He's got to be very happy with himself throughout, except for that one throw.
Yards on the interception returned by Mike Harden of the Raiders. Hey, Dave, here we go.
Is there any significance to the fact that phone is red?
I hope not.
Okay, I'm just asking. Just wanted to know.
Marcus Allen and Steve Smith are the setbacks. And we have whistles before the play. So a delay of game against the Raiders.
First down.
And their offense is sputtering just a bit early on in this ball game.
That's interesting. That's the beauty of this game. It's spontaneous. You never know from week to week. The Raiders really have bordered on the juggernaut over the last couple of weeks with very convincing away victories over both the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings in indoor stadiums. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's because it's outdoors. Maybe the elements have them confused. There's no smog here today. That might throw them off.
Now at the 19-yard line. Schroeder to the 23. Now let's check out the 10-minute ticker. Junior Seau with the last tackle. Cincinnati winning, Washington winning, and Atlanta winning. San Francisco by 3, Giants by 3, and Miami by 6. Seattle 7 up on Detroit. They still got a run at it. Green Bay and Denver tied, a run at a playoff. Jets and Tampa Bay are scoreless. And here, the score is San Diego 3 and the Raiders nothing with 1:20 left to go in the first period. And here is Marcus Allen, and Marcus goes to the 25-yard line. And as we take the countdown in the last minute of the first quarter, a chance for us to remind you that next Sunday, be sure to join us here on NBC Sports for the AFC wildcard game. We're not sure who the teams are right now. All of that will be sorted out over the weekend. And these are the teams that are in: Buffalo, Miami, the Raiders, Kansas City, they are in. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Houston, and Seattle are all in the bubble.
Charlie, just a reminder of the magnitude of this game for the Raiders. If they win, they have home field advantage and a bye. If they lose, they are on the road in the playoffs.
And Schroeder goes for the first down. And for the first time, the crowd here in the Coliseum is in the ballgame.
And you saw Junior Seau screaming at the official. He got shielded from the back, and he's claiming clip. But they're not going to call it. 13-yard gain for number 13.
And with that play, the first quarter will come to a close. At the score, San Diego 3 and the Raiders nothing. We'll be back in just a moment. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen as we start the second quarter with the score San Diego 3 and the Raiders nothing. Los Angeles with the ball, a first down at their own 36-yard line. Time of possession on the Chargers side. And here is Marcus Allen, and he leans to the 41-yard line. He'll pick up 5. It'll be second down. As we look down the road of the playoffs, you have to say, you know, what about the AFC and the NFC? Because so many people have felt that the NFC has the edge. Well, top 4 teams in the AFC, Kansas City, Buffalo, Raiders, and Pittsburgh, have a combined, now up to date of this moment, a 13-3 record against the NFC.
Well, I've always claimed that that was cyclical, and one of the teams out here today that's on the field, the Los Angeles Raiders, they've done particularly well against NFC opponents.
They may be the all-time leader against NFC opponents. Steve Smith to the 47-yard line, may have the first down. And how well have the Raiders done against the NFC? All-time record 50, 24-1.
Wow.
Bo Jackson in the first quarter was only in for 1 play. Now, I remember a couple of weeks ago when we talked to Art Shell for the Cincinnati game, and he said, well, before the Denver game, I didn't play him that much in the first half. And he really was antsy. He wanted to run over and kill somebody at halftime, and had a great second half. That game, the Cincinnati game, played only a few plays in the first half and then blew it open in the second half. Perhaps that same philosophy is going to take place here today.
Bo may know football, but Art knows theater.
Gosh, I wish I'd have said that. Ethan Horton, the intended receiver, is incomplete. The report on Vincey Glenn is a strained shoulder. Questionable to return. Dan Henning, the head coach. And one of the things that he said about Friesz, their quarterback for San Diego, when we talked to him, he said, you don't know about his future, you've got to line up and find out what it is. People say he's going to be great. Let's go find out. One of the reasons that he is starting. And here is Marcus. And Marcus at the 50-yard line. I saw him yesterday in the weight room. He said, this running is easy. So that's the blocking. That takes the toll. So that's the tough part.
I was just going to say, if you'd have noticed there, it was a terrific block on Leslie O'Neal there by Steve Smith, and that's what they're paying him to do. They're paying Marcus to catch passes and run.
And Marcus likes it that way.
And who's he kidding at 30 years of age? Who's he blocking?
He's a good blocker. Isolated position, isolated situation.
He was a good blocker one time, yes.
Galt, Fernandez, and Brown all in the ball game. And Marcus is the remaining back, is a good receiver. And Marcus with a block, not too bad. And Schroeder goes deep, and it is intercepted. Chargers have the ball. There's a flag down between the 3 and the 4-yard line. Galt, the intended receiver. And let's see how the play will be called.
Sammy Seal might have a legitimate beef here, that being as to whether or not he could have caught the ball. If he intercepted it before it even got there, it'd be interesting what the debate is. Whether or not it's illegal contact or interference.
And you don't want a game of this magnitude to turn on an official's call.
Number 30, defense. First down.
You can see that Sammy Seal's not happy about that at all. He feels like he got jogged. Hopefully we'll get a chance to look at it. Sammy Seal's talking about looking back for the ball. Now here he's running stride for stride with Willie Galt, which is no easy task. He's looking right here. Willie slows down. He turns back to look, and they collide. I think that Willie Galt, who is an aspiring actor, just gave a tremendous performance right there. So the casting directors there in L.A. who happen to have seen that, look at that.
He slowed up a step, but he got the call.
Incidental contact at best. Sure, Willie Galt goes down and flails away, but they got a gift there.
At the 5-yard line, it is first down and goal to go. Here is Marcus. And he's got about 3. It'll be second down and goal to go.
Charlie, I concur with you on that. A game of this magnitude and a play like that, it should be a little bit more flagrant than just the incidental contact. And as you can see, Sammy Seal was looking back for the ball. One of the things that I think officials have to do in the future when they look at the receivers is look at their intent to catch the ball also. Because what happens a lot of times that you'll see receivers know that they don't have any chance to catch the ball, watch their head throw back, and watch their arms come up and give that illusion that they've been interfered with, and that's exactly what Willie Gault did.
Steve Wright has moved out as a tight end. He is an eligible receiver, number 66. And Steve Smith is shut off at third down and goal to go. Right before Christmas when he had the ball game, I got Steve Smith to autograph a picture to my friend Steve Smith.
Is that right?
Yes, and he's watching the game up in Sun Valley, cheering for his namesake.
Get a chance to look at this again. Now here's the question. Is Willie Gault really trying to catch this ball? Let's see what he does right here.
Slows down as if to go
now
back.
Look at that. Is he really trying to catch that ball? I don't think so.
Well, you could say, though, that he was slowing down to try and cut back inside. Touchdown, Los Angeles Raiders.
Marcus Allen going over the right side of the line, opened up there by Max Montoya. Gary Plummer went for the dive and missed. And as a result, his vacated places where Marcus found the end zone.
And for Marcus Allen, his 93rd career touchdown. 76 yards in the drive, 10 plays. Extra point is good. Raiders take the lead for the first time. The big play, the 45-yard penalty call against Sam Seal, the cornerback of San Diego. We've got a timeout. We'll be back in just a moment. And with that touchdown, Marcus is now tied for 8th among all-time NFL touchdown scores with 93.
Charlie's tied with the great Jimmy Taylor, the former fullback of the Green Bay Packers. Terrific career for Marcus Allen. That's quite a statistic.
Jeff Jager to kick off with Donnie Elder and Kittrick Taylor, the return man. And Elder takes it right at the goal line. And he has running room outside the 25, the 30. A flag is down. He's to the 40, cuts to the far side, sheds another tackler, looks for a block. He'll be swarmed under at the 47, but there was that flag dropped down inside the 20-yard line, and you know that call, and the pushing and shoving that started in the first quarter continues here. Bad blood always has been between these two teams. They do like to get it on.
Not just bad blood in this case, but bad luck for the Chargers. Here they had a chance to be nearly at midfield with field position. Now they're going to have to go back clear to about their 10-yard line as a result of this penalty.
And something else that Jerry McBride is going to have to look out for is make sure that a game of this magnitude does not get out of hand.
Illegal blocking foul on the return. 10-yard penalty, first down. You got it.
He's bang, you got it. That means that we're going away with the commercial. We'll be right back to the Coliseum.
Necessarily an omen, but things have been going very well for the Raiders, and that penalty was definitely one of those things in their favor.
All right, San Diego trailing for the first time in the ball game from their own 10-yard line. And here is Rod Bernstein, and Bernstein to the 22. And he will pick up the first down. Eddie Anderson with a tackle, and right now, let's go to New York, an update. And Bob Costas.
Thank you, Chucky. Here's a highlight from earlier today. Babe Loffenberg had a terrible day, filling in for the injured Troy Aikman at quarterback for the Cowboys. Here his pass is intercepted by Deion Sanders of the Falcons, and the Neon one returns it 61 yards for a touchdown, part of the Falcons' 26-7 victory. Now, if New Orleans beats the Rams tomorrow night, the Saints get the wild card. If the Rams beat the Saints, however, Dallas backs in. Charles?
Well, we went from Chucky to Charles, Robert, and I'll accept either one of them, and thank you for that update. Meanwhile, the incomplete pass here on first down at the 22-yard line. Lewis, the intended receiver. McDaniel and Harden had the coverage. With 9:58 to go in the second quarter, Raiders are up by 4. Friesz now 3 of 7 for 36 yards and a touchdown, and that's about where they expect him to be at this point in the ballgame. Second and 10. McEwen is in motion. And Bernstein is going to be back to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be all. Tom Benson with the tackle. Courtney Hall, who is playing out of position. He is a great center for the Chargers, but is playing this year at left guard, has an interesting story, and that is that his high school English teacher, Sandra Google, of Banning High School, and he nominated her, and she was selected as Teacher of the Year, and she is his guest here in the Coliseum today.
Courtney Hall hasn't had a bad year either. We'll get a chance later in the show to get a chance to see my All-Pro team, and one of the members, one of the guards, happens to be number 53, Courtney Hall.
Third down, and Friesz's pass is incomplete, almost intercepted. And that's the second. Miller was the intended second bad pass that he has thrown. The first one was intercepted.
One of the things we talked with John Friesz about was the speed of the game. You know, when you practice, obviously, you're not necessarily going full speed all the time. What's happening to him right now is as he gets pressured, he throws off his back foot. Anthony Miller was actually open, but he threw before he made his break, and as a result, it was almost picked off.
An update on Vincey Glenn with a sprained right shoulder. He will not return. John Kidd will be kicking, and Tim Brown is the return man for the Raiders, and Los Angeles have come up with excellent field position. They lead right now 7-3. Good kick. Flag is down. Brown takes the ball at his own 35-yard line, and he's going to lose about 3 yards on the return. 43 yards on the kick, and then the loss as Figueroa was there. And again, we had that flag that was dropped along the near sideline. And it's going to be a holding call, and he points to the Raiders.
Inevitably, what they're trying to do is they're trying to keep their sprinters from going downfield. They double the outside guys, 2 Raiders on 1 Charger. In this case, they got a piece of Donald Frank.
And here's Jerry McBride.
Holding foul on number 21, receiving team while the kick was in the air. The penalty is enforced from the spot where possession was gained. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
And they call against the rookie from Alcorn, Gary Lewis. We've got a timeout. We'll be back. The Raiders have the lead. Paul and Bo Jackson is in the lineup. First down at their own 22-yard line. And Bo tries to get to the outside, and he is brought down. And Junior Seau is the man who made the tackle. We talked to Art Shell. He said, we asked him anything different about San Diego than the last time you played him? He says, yes, you've got to pay more attention to number 55.
Well, interestingly enough, he must have a tremendous reputation around the league. He has 73 tackles, but he ended up being a second Pro Bowl alternate at middle linebacker. And you and I have both discussed this at great length. Here was a guy that had 19 sacks and 34 hurries in his last year there at USC. We assumed that they would use him much the same way as Lawrence Taylor is used, but instead they've used him at the inside. The thing that they're impressed with is this guy can really run. Interestingly enough, now they do have him on the outside. But
and Bo Jackson again, and he's going to lose a yard as the Raiders stay on the ground. And this has been something that has been going on not only with the Raiders but with other teams in the NFL.
Take a look at this. That's the old Darrell Royal axiom that when you pass, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad. Take a look, ironically, at all 5 teams are all division leaders as we speak. So it goes to show that you don't necessarily have to throw to win in this league, but you do have to run the ball.
And so far the Raiders, 13 rushes, 4 passes, and Schroeder is 0 for 4.
And then again, it's no secret what their percentage is run to pass either. We'll get a chance to head and look at that in just a second.
3rd and 9. And he was throwing this one away. He was running out of time. Fernandez was the closest receiver, but in reality, he was just avoiding the loss. Let's go to New York and Bob Costas.
Okay, Charlie, here's Cincinnati's game-winning touchdown today. The Browns played them tough. It was tied at 14 in the 4th quarter. Cleveland's defense went for the play-action fake by Esiason. He lofts it out to Eric Ball. Defender slips at the 10. Then he bounces off the last guy at the 3. Cincinnati wins 21-14. They're still alive for the division title or a wild card. Charlie.
All right, thank you, Bob. And, of course, the Raiders are in the playoffs. If they win today, then they will be the champions of the West. Kansas City will be the wild card. And if they lose, you can reverse those 2 roles. And here is the kick. And Kittrick Taylor backs up and takes it at the 25-yard line. And he'll have a little return on it of 9 yards. 52 yards on the kick, and Elvis Patterson is the man who made the stop. 7:15 time remaining. We're in the first half, and the Raiders are out in front of the Chargers by a score of 7-3 as we have a marker down.
You know, we get a chance to talk about Elvis Patterson. Elvis Patterson is one of the league's leading tacklers on special teams. He had 15 going into this game, and when we were talking with Art Shell, I asked him, I said, would it be fair to say that you felt like Elvis Patterson quite possibly could have been the Pro Bowl guy at special teams? And he said, you can assume that.
Yeah. Illegal man downfield on the kick, number 57. Offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Elvis Patterson's actually a very interesting story, Charlie. Of course, many of you may remember that he was a cornerback for the New York Giants back in their heyday. In fact, he was one of the starting cornerbacks for the Giants in 1986 when they won the Super Bowl. And of course, he had that infamous nickname of Toast, because he was burned. That's the last thing you want to have if you're a cornerback. Now here he is, closing in on 30 years of age, and people say he should be long gone because he doesn't have the speed. He's taken it upon himself to be a special teams performer, and he's done an outstanding job for the Los Angeles Raiders.
All right, here's Jeff Gossett again.
Jeff Gossett in punt formation.
Kittrick Taylor is the return man, and the Chargers should come up with pretty good field position here. Raiders lead at 7-3. Another good kick. 37-yard line, 40. 45, 50, cuts back to the 40, and then is stopped at the 35-yard line by the kicker, Jeff Gossett. Gossett saves the touchdown. Or Taylor could have repeated what he did last week when he went 55 yards for the score. 27 yards on the return of a 45-yard punt. We'll be back in a moment. 2 is number 17, John Friesz, the San Diego quarterback. Well, he was the Big Sky Conference Play of the Year last year at Idaho as a senior. 61% completion, 31 touchdowns, more than 4,000 yards, 6 in college history. And here is Bernstein around the right side as he goes to the 29-yard line. He's got 5. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as Benson makes the tackle.
And Charlie, one of the things that people should know is that if you're a fan out there saying, yeah, but a guy from that division in college can't play, a couple of guys by the name of Terry Bradshaw and Ken Anderson seem to have done okay coming from that division, didn't they?
And in career yardage, right up there, 10,697 yards. It's hard to complete that much yardage without a defense just in practice.
It's interesting. That's exactly what Dan Henning said.
That's where I got it. I knew I'd heard that somewhere. 2nd down. And now the youngster starts with good field position. Let's see if he can put points on the board. Or more importantly, for his career in the Chargers, can he get them to the end zone? 3 to the 27. It'll be 3rd down and about 3 to go for the 1st down as Golick and Ricky Ellison stop him.
This will be a big 3rd down, as you just mentioned. One of the things that I haven't liked necessarily about the San Diego play calling is that they keep doing this run, and then forcing the 3rd down to throw. Of course, with a team like this, they had the misdirection play to Ronnie Harmon in a similar situation that went for 41 yards. So they might want to go back to that. It'll be interesting to see what they do here.
Raiders with 6 in the secondary, looking for him to throw. Cox is in motion. Harmon, the ball carrier, slips the tackle, cuts back, and he is not going to pick up the 1st down. He'll be a yard and a half, maybe 2 shy, as Eddie Anderson was there to bring him down.
I'm almost sure that they're going to go for it in this situation. Nice tackle there by Eddie Anderson, because Ronnie Harmon had his weight going forward. And all he had to do was fall down like most running backs normally do heading forward. He would have had the 1st. But Andy Anderson had his shoulders and neck right in his chest. Did a good job. Ronnie Harmon does a good job right here avoiding the tackle by Scott Davis. Now he cuts upfield. Take a look at Eddie, how he stops him right in his tracks, right there. With his face mask right in his kidneys, pushes him back. Nice tackle by Eddie Anderson.
4th down and 1, they're going for it, and Steve Hendrickson is in the ballgame for San Diego. He is the lead blocker. Bernstein over the top, and he'll pick it up. People have questioned the toughness of Rod Bernstein. He told us, hey, I've been injured. I've had the hamstring. When you're hurting, you can't be all that tough. He feels good, and he has shown that toughness the last 2 ball games.
This may be a little bit off the subject, but I find this kind of interesting. Number 82 at running back. You get a little confused when you see that, don't you?
Yes.
He played tight end for Texas A&M wearing number 29. Obviously, this is a young man who is an iconoclast.
And Iconoclast with 14 carries and 58 yards rushing.
Okay, he's a good running Iconoclast.
That was the capital I. Incomplete. Derek Walker, the tight end, the intended receiver. It'll be second down and 10. And so San Diego, like you want him to, now throwing on first down.
Yeah, once again, though, that was the same route that he threw the interception to when Arthur Cox was there, and Mike Harden was able to go over and pick it off.
3:53, time remaining in the first half. Raiders 7, San Diego 3. Chargers opening drive led to a 19-yard field goal by John Carney. The Raiders with 76 yards in 10 plays with Marcus Allen scoring from a yard out. McEwen in motion. Here's Bernstein, still on his feet. And he is hit. They stand him up at the 16, and he still carries the pile for another 2 steps.
Sometimes I don't like comparisons, but does he remind you a little bit of Calvin Hill?
Yes.
You know, because at 6'3", he doesn't necessarily run low. He actually runs pretty tall, but he makes people miss him at the legs. Calvin Hill was very adroit at that when he played for the Dallas Cowboys. Watch the cut off the left side. Nice block there by Courtney Hall on Golick, enabling him to get the hole. There he sidesteps it, takes the man on head on. Now watch the push here by Eric Floyd, pushing people off. Nice job there to give Bernstein an extra 2 yards and put them there at 3rd and 2.
And here is Bernstein again. He's got the first down as he goes. Let's see where they will mark it. They're going to mark it at the 8-yard line. Gary Lewis with the tackle. And again, it was Steve Hendrickson as the lead blocker.
Again, I'm so impressed that with 238 pounds on that frame, you would think that you'd get better shots on this guy. But very rarely do you see, in this case, someone hit him right in the chest and knock him back. He's doing a good job of avoiding tacklers. And the offensive line for the San Diego Chargers really is doing a good job of moving the Raiders off the line of scrimmage.
First down, goal to go, 8-yard line. And Bernstein one more time as he goes to the 6. And as they unpile, a chance for us to check the 10-minute ticker of the late games. Seattle leading Detroit 7-3 in the second quarter. Denver up on Green Bay by 3, and Tampa Bay by 1 over the Jets. And now as we take the countdown to the 2-minute warning, the score here in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum: the Los Angeles Raiders 7, the San Diego Chargers 3, and they are in, as you would say, the shadow of the goalpost as we come back in just a moment. The Coliseum, Raiders lead it 7-3. It's second down and goal to go. And Friesz has protection, and into the end zone for the touchdown is Craig McEwen. And San Diego leading for the second time in the ballgame.
That was a terrific throw by John Friesz. He threw it right in there. Craig McEwen does a good job of bouncing off the coverage. They're just inside the end line. I would have thought they're going to go with play action here, but Friesz steps right back. He's looking at him all the way, but he makes his move. Look at that. Drills it right in there. That's actually not bad coverage between the linebackers. They're in a zone coverage there between Robinson and Ellison, but Friesz laid it right in there.
34 yards on the drive, 9 plays, and the extra point is blocked.
Was that Elvis Patterson?
And that's the first one that Carney has missed all season long since he joined the Chargers.
Here we get a chance from the inside, or is it from the outside? Right in the middle of your screen, you'll see coming up is Scott Davis high. It appeared the number 70, Scott Davis, got a piece of it.
We've got a timeout, 1:55 to go. First half, we'll be back with the kickoff. At 4 of 10, 43 yards, 1 interception, and a touchdown pass that gave San Diego the lead. And here is Ron Brown on the return. And he is going to be swarmed under at the 22-yard line, as Terry Orr was there for San Diego.
What a shame. Ricky Hundley's really the one that made the tackle. Ron Brown had a terrific head of steam when he collides with his teammate. It's right in the back of Ricky Hundley. Too bad.
Now let's go back to that extra point that was blocked. We'll take another look.
Well, it's a cliche fest, I know it. But this could turn out to be a very big play. Right in the middle, you see Scott Davis get up number 70 with the big right hand, get a piece of it and bat it away. Field goal now gives them the lead.
Schroeder has not completed a pass for the Raiders. He is 0 for 5 in the first half. There's an incomplete. Thought it was his completion at the 30, and then the ball kicked loose. Ethan Horton, the intended receiver. So Schroeder is 0 for 6.
Last week, Charlie, he had one of his better games. He only threw 15 times, but he completed 10 for 234 yards and 4 touchdowns.
We have an update on the report on that extra point. It hit the helmet of Eric Floyd, who is the starting left tackle for San Diego, replacing Goaz and Patton. Patton is on the IR, and he is out with a neck injury, and so apparently that is what caused it. As here comes Bo Jackson. And he goes to the 28-yard line, so it'll be 3rd down and about 4 to go for the first down. And so now you check the clock, 1:34 time remaining. As San Diego takes a timeout, they want to give the youngster John Friesz another opportunity here in the first half.
Don't you see that a little bit reversed? I would have thought it would be the Raiders that would call the timeout trying to get down there, but evidently Art Shell says that things have been going so bad, espousing to the Murphy Law theory that he just wants to get out of this first half because they're not playing particularly well.
Be sure to stay with us at halftime for NFL Live. Bob and company will be there. Will O.J., the well-traveled one, and Bob Costas. And the headlines, NFL Live this morning, if you were watching the show. Will McDonough reports that Joe Gibbs has agreed to a new contract with the Redskins. Marty Schottenheimer in Kansas City said he expects the Raiders to win. He plans on facing Miami. He said he might not even watch this game. Marty, I hope you are watching, though. But he would be working on the game for next week. Mike Ditka said he's undecided on what he's going to do. 3rd down. Raiders' first completion. It's to the tight end Ethan Horton, and it's going to be enough for the first down at the 34-yard line.
And because he went out of bounds, now I wonder if Art Shell will rethink his philosophy here and contemplate getting up the field here and getting in field goal position. You can see offensive coordinator Terry Robisky calling the plays from the sidelines. Terry Robisky been with the Raider organization as a former player, former special teams assistant coach, as well as running back coach. Now technically the tight end coach, but he does have the mantle of offensive coordinator.
The Chargers still 7 minutes up on time of possession. Schroeder's pass is incomplete. And this time Willie Gault was the intended receiver. That stops the clock. 1:23 time remaining first half. San Diego leading by 2, 9-7. And the timeouts remaining. Chargers have 2. The Raiders have 3. And it is 2nd down and 10 at the 35-yard line. In the training room of the Raiders yesterday morning, they were watching the Kansas City game. They were cheering for the Bears. And here's Marcus Allen. Has an opening to the left side. Little stiff arm. He goes out of bounds at the 49-yard line. And he gains 16 yards on the play. Anthony Shelton for San Diego.
Now here's the savvy of the veteran football player. Marcus Allen has a lot of yards up the field. Now he knows he's going to get the first down. Look at him take a look right here. Now instead of cutting upfield, watch what he does. He starts to veer to the sidelines right here. He puts the big stiff arm on Anthony Shelton, but more importantly, he gets out of bounds and stops the clock. A lot of times what you'll see in a younger back is he'll go, look at that field, and he makes a move and then cuts back to the inside and may get an extra 5-6 yards, but then they have to spend a timeout.
1:17 time remaining. Marcus needs 73 yards rushing to reach the 8,000 plateau. Schroeder has pressure, and he is going to be sacked.
I can't believe this, Charlie, but this is really a statistic that is just unfathomable. If you'd have told me this at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have believed you. That is Junior Seau's first sack of the year in the 16th week of the season. Look at the pass rush he puts on. He comes to the inside here. Now here's the quickness of Junior Seau. He's actually out of the play, but he comes back in, is relentless with Schroeder, and pulls him down.
And a loss of 12. It'll be 2nd and 22.
Next time Junior needs to show his emotions more, though. He needs to get a little bit more excited.
Like you always did.
He said sarcastically.
And this will be back-to-back sacks. Leslie O'Neal gets this one. And he now has 13.5 on the year.
Now, I was all set to say that on the completion to Ethan Hoare that they were getting good protection. But this is one of the things. Now, you know that I mentioned this to Dan Henning, didn't I?
Yes,
and I said, why don't you have Leslie O'Neal and Junior Seau on the same side? There's the results.
It'll be 3rd and 32. San Diego, now they decide to stop the clock. 39 seconds. Time remaining in the first half.
And you know what that does, strangely enough? Even if San Diego doesn't score, if I'm John Friesz on the sidelines, I'm saying to myself, I'm a rookie quarterback, and they're willing to stop the clock, and they're not content with the 9-7 lead. They trust me in the 2-minute situation.
Very good point.
Oh, the way he's been throwing, why not? I mean, I realize that he hasn't exactly got him lights out, but he does have a touchdown pass, and he's made some nice throws. And more importantly, I think he's shown an awful lot of composure for a youngster.
He took him on the opening drive. Bernstein, of course, shouldering most of the load that led to the field goal. And then when they had good field position, then he took him on the short drive of 34 yards in 9 plays and the touchdown pass to McEwen.
But you know what, really, that is the offense of the San Diego Chargers. Dan Henning has told us he doesn't necessarily have to have a quarterback that's going to throw 35 times a game. When you have a Marion Butts or a Rod Bernstein, the bellwether of your offense is going to be your running game. So if he throws judiciously, makes the periodic good throw, and gets a big play from time to time with a great player like Anthony Miller, he will have done his job.
The Raiders today in passing yardage minus 15. Schroeder has lots of time, fires this one. It is complete, but it will be shy of the first down. Mervin Fernandez. It will be 4th down, a gain of 25. It'll come up 7 short.
What the Raiders did there, Charlie, is that they lined up all 3 receivers to the outside, and they gave them the illusion that they were going to run a Hail Mary. And what happens is that around 25 to 30 yards, when the cornerbacks normally would turn and run, that's exactly what they did. And then out of the fray, Mervin Fernandez ran an in. Terrific throw by Jay Schroeder. What's interesting here, Charlie, is that the Raiders called timeout. They're actually contemplating going for it here, which would surprise me here in 4th and 8. That can't be, can it?
Well, the discussion goes on the sideline. Art Shell. The Raiders love to play for this man. He has the magic.
And he's not happy.
No.
I can tell by the way that mouth is going that Art Shell very rarely raises his voice. I know that for a fact.
How was he when he was the point guard of the basketball team for the Raiders that you played for?
Oh, he was a lot more relaxed for that. Now he's given it a lot of thought. He screamed at some people. And he said, this is what we're going to do. There's a whole half to play. No way we're going to go for it on 4th down, 4th and 8 at midfield.
And he never drew the charging foul when he's playing basketball. Right?
That's one thing I can guarantee. No one wanted to drop the charge from Art Shell.
Jeff Gossett will be kicking. Taylor is the return man. A bit of a Charger roll, but still will be down at the 7-yard line. So all of the strategy becomes mute as Vance Mueller down.
Vance Mueller?
Yes, the champion
of Crazy Eights.
Crazy Eights.
Big game for the Raiders. That's important too.
Crazy Eights.
Oh, you play Crazy Eights. Where you try to get rid of all your cards, deal late.
Yeah.
That has been a Raiders staple for the last 20 years, and he is a proud champion. But I told him, I said, you know that's because I'm not there anymore.
We called it the Arkansas Shuffle when I grew up.
Did they have cards then?
Yes, you had to draw them yourself.
Connect the dots.
Yes. And don't forget, stay with us at halftime. Bob, Will, and OJ, NFL Live from New York City. San Diego from their own 9-yard line. And here is Bernstein. Oh, and he kind of gets that ball out in front of him a little bit. But he'll be down just shy of the 15-yard line. Townsend with the tackle. And the Chargers and the Raiders will head for the locker room. It is halftime with the score. San Diego 9 and Los Angeles 7. And right now, let's go to NFL Live, New York City. And here's Bob Costas.
And there he goes! The raw excitement of the NFL.
The reverse run is nailed, and he might go all the way.
The history and emotion of Notre Dame football.
Jones along with Todd Christensen, and we've had a first half that Marty Schottenheimer in Kansas City right now has a way to go, John Friesz. He has been outplaying the veteran Jay Schroeder.
Oh, but of course Marty's not really watching the game, so he'd have no idea. Yeah,
I
right.
think he's gotten the word.
Well, yeah, quite frankly, he has outplayed him. John Friesz has thrown the only touchdown pass of the game. It was a terrific shot that he had there to Terry McEwen. When John Friesz being only 4 for 10 right now, I realize that doesn't sound like great numbers, but as I say, he's up 9-7. There, a nice catch by McEwen. And on the other side of the ledger, Jay Schroeder has just struggled throughout. He's only 2 for 8, and he just can't seem to get it together with the offense.
How does the youngster celebrate his first NFL touchdown pass?
They heard it all the way to Coeur d'Alene, didn't they?
It looks a little like Steve Day. Meanwhile, Jay Schroeder, as you mentioned, is not having, he was 0 for 5 before he completed a pass in the first half, and the offense has been a bit of a struggle for the Raiders.
Well, for the last couple of weeks, he's just been right on cue, and I think a lot of it had to do with a letdown. I don't know what it could possibly be emotionally for the team, but particularly for Jay Schroeder, as we mentioned, he's only 2 for 8. He can't seem to find his receivers, and near the end of the half, the protection broke down, and he got sacked twice.
And here is one of them.
Junior Seau with his first NFL sack, which is hard to believe in the 16th week of the season, but that's the middle linebacker for you. Relentless in his pursuit of Jay Schroeder. That was a big play that negated the Raiders from having a chance at a field goal at the end of the half.
And now we take a look at the official numbers of the first half. And there they are, just a brief glimpse. We'll come back and dissect those for you as John Carney is kicking off. And here is Jamie Holland on the return. Now let's go back to the statistics of the first half.
Well, the statistic that stands out in my mind, Charlie, is the yards rushing. That 137 yards, 80 of those by Rod Bernstein, who is having a tremendous game. And give credit to that offensive line. They're doing an outstanding job as well of moving those Raiders off the line of scrimmage. And that's enabling Friesz to have the time with play-action passes.
So the Raiders trailing 9-7 as we open the second half. And Bo Jackson starts the second half, just as he did against Cincinnati. And he blew that one open with an 88-yard run. He was dropped, as you know, at the 1-yard line. And here is Bo. He jumps to the left, and he is brought down by Gary Plummer, the leading tackler for the Chargers.
Gary Plummer had 103 tackles going into this game, and he's one of those that gets frustrated over that Pro Bowl vote as well. I mean, this is, I think, his 3rd straight season with over 100 tackles. Bo cutting all the way back, and that's a good job right there, because if he doesn't get him, the flow is going a different direction, and he could have another Cincinnati-like run. Gary also, speaking of linebackers turned pass catchers, had a touchdown earlier in the season at the tight end position for the Chargers.
Ball is in motion, and here is the pitch. Slips one tackle, spins away, and he is going to lose 5 yards back to the 30-yard line. So it will be 3rd down and 13.
Something tells me, Charlie, that not just looking at John Friesz, but they're looking at the possibility of having Junior Seau at that outside position. He totally ruined that play by getting in the backfield. Watch number 55 cut up field here and make Bo go completely the other way around. He doesn't make the tackle, but right there, Bo is a good 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. His friends come and help out, and they cause the 3-yard loss. Now, what's he doing on the sidelines? Why would he be out there on a passing down the way that guy's coming?
Because they have Marcus in the backfield. And Schroeder's pass is incomplete, and again, he was just avoiding any kind of a loss. The offense of the Raiders continues to sputter. It will be 4th down and 13, and it's a kicking situation. When I talked with Howie Long yesterday, I said, what about the ball game tomorrow? He said, we've got to come up with, create some new inventive ways to get up for a game.
And I'll guarantee you that man you just had a look at right there gave his team a tongue lashing at halftime. Rockney-esque speeches are not necessarily Art Shell's forte, but I can guarantee you the way the Raiders played in the first half, he gave them a tongue lashing.
Kittrick Taylor is the return man. Jeff Gossett's the kicker. Chargers have a return on, and a fair catch is called for and taken at the 36-yard line. So San Diego will take over following the 34-yard kick with 13-17 time remaining in the 3rd quarter, and the Chargers lead 9-7. The Raiders with the ball at their own 20-yard line, trailing 9-7 with 10.5 to go in the third. And Schroeder, who is having a disaster this afternoon, is incomplete still again, this time to Ethan Horton.
Well, that wasn't Jay Schroeder's fault. That's a very catchable ball. Put it right between the 8 and the 8 for Ethan Horton, and he couldn't come up with it.
But only 2 of 11 for 31 yards for Schroeder. By the way, program note, the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl here on NBC. Louisville and Alabama. Todd and I were over there the last 2 days. We'll be doing that ball game. You know the Martin Luther King controversy that surrounds it. In case anything is to happen, Gail Gardner will be there covering also for NBC Sports. But it was fabulous. The U.S. West kickoff luncheon was just great, and a beautiful portrait of Martin Luther King was given to the Sunkist Fiesta Bowl at that luncheon by Alabama. As Bo Jackson picks up the first down, making himself known or heard.
I didn't want to go in the distance. What we're talking about. Not what I was talking about, Louisville and Alabama. Yeah. One of the things, Bo would have been upset because he played at Auburn. That's right. And one of the things that happens inevitably when you have a fantastic player like Bo Jackson is you become dependent upon him. You become dependent upon him to have the big plays. Now here they are down 9-7, and you can get a sense of the team saying, well, when's Bo going to do something? And we'd like to apologize. We do understand that our audio is having some technical problems, but we're working very feverishly to clear that up as Bo Jackson is working again. And this time he is stopped right at the line of scrimmage. This time by Billy Ray Smith. Once again, Junior Seau is in the backfield, and he alters the course of Bo Jackson. He doesn't necessarily make the tackle, but he made him go a way that he didn't want to go. The conversation, of course, that we had yesterday with all of the Chargers, and then when we talked to Billy Ray Smith, number 54, it was about the quarterback, John Friesz. And Billy Ray, like the veterans, said, it's not like you're doing it for free. He's been getting paid for carrying a clipboard around his time, and he works for his money. He's falling into what they call the Mike Krujek syndrome. You know, sit back there and get all that money while everybody else is doing the work. 2nd and 10. Schroeder, lots of time. Pass is complete. Far side to the tight end, Ethan Horton.
A chance to see coming across the screen up on your upper left, you'll get a chance to see Ethan Horton, who will come open. He actually had an out route, and then he came back to the outside even farther and was able to get away from Martin Bayless for the first down.
At the San Diego 47-yard line, Horton's second reception for 25 yards total in the ballgame. San Diego 9, Raiders 7.
Nobody is on Horton right now. I wonder if Jay Schroeder sees it.
He goes to Fernandez.
Now, I wonder if he's going to run back to the huddle right now and tell Jay Schroeder, say, hey, listen, when we went to that formation, Martin Bayless is supposed to come out, and he didn't. Right now, you can see he's looking at him. What's going on?
Quarterback comparison. Now, this is the rookie in his first start, John Friesz, the veteran Jay Schroeder.
Well, none of those numbers terribly excite you at this point, but right now the issue is that we have a ball game at 9-7.
39-yard line. That's good for 1. So it'll be 3rd down and a couple for the first down.
Joe Robinson in the backfield was able to make that play. Bo Jackson showing how strong he is. You can't arm tackle him. But once again, the San Diego Chargers are getting pretty good penetration. The running game for the Raiders today is not as effective as it has been in the past.
Jackson coming to the sideline. Raiders going with 3 wide receivers. And Marcus Allen in the backfield. And Marcus slips as he makes his cut. He will not pick up the first down. It'll be 4th and about a yard. Time to make a decision.
I would like, in this situation, I wonder the confidence that he has in his defense. That has a lot to do with it. And that's what Archie has to be thinking. Got a rookie quarterback over there. Can he drive 60 yards on us? If he feels like he can't, then he might go for it. It appears right here that he is.
4th down, a yard and a half. And if you took one section of this ball game, it has been the San Diego defense that has played exceptionally well. Can they do it one more time? Here is Marcus, and they do. And San Diego will take over on downs.
Lee Williams in the middle of the pile is the one that made that play, number 99. And Lee Williams is one of those players that a number of coaches and players as well felt like got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. Nice job in the middle of the field by number 99.
And also Gerald Robinson, number 98. As you know, that defensive line of the Chargers without Bert Grossman, without Les Miller, without Joe Phillips, has kind of been a make-do part of the end of the season as we take a timeout. The score is San Diego 9 and the Raiders 7. As we come back, Bernstein is clotheslined, and Scott Davis is leading the celebration.
Ouch.
Oh, that hurts.
One of the problems with running straight up is exactly that. He clotheslined him.
Program note, the Federal Express Orange Bowl on January the 1st. The battle for the national championship. Number 1, the Colorado Buffaloes and Notre Dame. And perhaps by then or during that game or right after the game, we will find more about the plan of the Rocket, Ishmael of Notre Dame, whether he will stay in school or whether he will come out and go into the NFL draft. That's the Orange Bowl on January 1st, prime time. Freeze a little high, but it is pulled down by Derek Walker, and Walker goes out at the 47-yard line. So it's going to be 3rd down and 2.
I think Friesz kind of aimed that one. He wanted to make sure that that was just right, and in so doing, it got a little bit too high. Thank goodness for him. Walker has some good hops. He was able to get up and get it.
Also looking in today, I'm sure, is the mayor of Boise, Dick Kempthorne, as he sent a nice telegram, as John was telling us about last night. So I imagine the whole state of Idaho is celebrating his first NFL start.
One of their own right here.
Of time. Pass is complete. 1st down. And again, it is Derek Walker, the tight end, on the receiving end. And he picks up 11 yards as we check out the Hertz 10-minute ticker. In the early games, Cincinnati winning, Washington winning, and Atlanta on top of Dallas, which makes the game on Monday night of importance now. San Francisco wins, the Giants, in a tough one by New England, and Miami by 6 over the Colts. Seattle leading in the 3rd. They still have a shot. Denver does not have a shot. They lead. The Jets, and they're out of it, and they lose. And here's San Diego in front of the Raiders by a score of 9-7, and the Chargers have the ball. And this time Bernstein is only going to pick up about 3 as he goes to the 39-yard line of Los Angeles.
One of the other things that San Diego is doing quite effectively right now is they're taking time off the clock with 3:45 and running in the 3rd quarter. The more time goes off the clock, the more worried the Los Angeles Raiders become.
We talked about the Charger defense on 4th down and 1. They made the stand, and they stopped Marcus Allen and the Raiders. And let's take another look as they took over on downs here.
Right over the left tackle, you'll see getting penetration right there is Lee Williams. Right there, he holds on to that left leg. Marcus can't go anyplace. Lee Williams. Larry Batol, the line coach for the New York Jets, said that that man right there is the reason their defensive line is so effective, not necessarily all the sackers.
Bernstein stood up at the 39-yard line, so that is now his 24th carry, and with no gain on that play, his total remains at 98 yards rushing as Bob Golick and Alex Gordon make the tackle.
You know, Rod Bernstein heading to this game was averaging 4.9 yards a carry, nearly 5 yards. Ronnie Harmon, on the other hand, is averaging 5.1, and in fact, the team average was 4.6. And I asked Dan Henning, I said, why don't you just run the ball every down? He said, well, if we could, we would.
3rd down and 7. Freesz has pressure, steps away. He's going to scramble, tripped up from behind. He picks up a couple of yards. Scott Davis got a hand on him and brought him down. But he is about 5 yards shy of the 1st down.
Now, they're a little hesitant here as to what to do because on the 36-yard line, I would think they would punt. The one downside of John Freesz is that in the camps and the combines, they timed his 40 in 5.25. Now, that is not too rapid. You can see right there, defensive end runs him down from behind.
They're going for a 54-yard field goal attempt by John Carney. And the Raiders want to stop the clock.
Charge timeout.
They didn't have enough people on the field, Charlie.
I think they possibly were expecting the punt, and when the field goal team came out, they were a man shy. We'll be back in just a moment.
Place to be.
NBC is the place to be right now. 54-yard field goal attempt by John Carney.
They really trust their defense here because if he misses, that's going to give the Raiders excellent field position. Just as earlier, the Raiders trusted their defense when they went for it on 4th down.
Is it going to make it? It comes up short. Dead center, but short.
Charlie, that's only the second field goal John Carney has missed since being a San Diego Charger.
And his longest as a Charger prior to that attempt, the longest good one, 43 yards. We'll be back in a moment. Raiders at the ball. In your area.
Dan Henning could have left himself open for some serious second guessing by going for the field goal right there.
Yes, and we'll discuss that right after this play. Here's Schroeder. Throws underneath the coverage to Fernandez. And he slides to the 41-yard line.
Oh, Albion.
A long field goal attempt, maybe out of the range of Carney, at least on that try it was. He came up, what, about 4 or 5 yards short of the crossbar. And a punt that would have gone out inside of the 20. I mean, it makes the fact that the Raiders have a short field to work with rather than a long one. And Kansas City has a vested interest, of course, in this ballgame. The Raiders win. They're the champions. Have next week off. They lose. Kansas City are the champions. They have next week off.
Exactly right. And even if he pumps the punt into the end zone, that's the 20-yard line. Make them drive a long ways, especially with the way their defense is playing.
But maybe that's the key. All these defenses playing so well they can stop them. And here is Steve Smith. Now, he has not carried the ball since the opening moments of the first quarter, and he was pretty effective there. And as you can see, we're taking the countdown here to the end of the third. Junior Seau with that last tackle.
Steve Smith doesn't get that many opportunities, but at least today he's made the most of them when he's had a chance.
It'll be 3rd down and 1.
Junior Seau is showing the way he is playing today is, I think, what they had anticipated when they spent all that money for him and making him the 5th pick of the draft. He's playing outstanding football today.
And here is Smith, and he moves the defenders for the first down as he goes to the 49-yard line. As we come to the end of the third quarter, Junior Seau with the last tackle. And after 3, the score, San Diego 9, the Raiders 7. And we'll be back after these messages from your local Bob Beeks to make the review. He, by the way, sees only what you have seen at home. And in case you wonder why sometimes the original shot, there it is.
There you can see the toe is right on the line.
Right on the line.
We should make a point here, though, Charlie, that the Raiders have been very fortunate with instant replay this season. Earlier in the year, we had a game in Seattle where Mervin Fernandez made a catch where he was clearly out of bounds, and they called it a catch. Against the Detroit Lions on national television on a Monday night.
Incompleted pass out of bounds. 3rd down.
Anyway, to finish the story, that one also went their way, but this time it wasn't to their advantage. They didn't get the break.
Also, let me point out for you at home, we cannot show you the original play because we don't tape that. We're taping all the isolated replays. They do have the original replay in the replay booth of the original shot. Because that has come up several times. Why don't we show you that? The reason is we don't have it. Pressure from the backside. Schroeder steps away, and he is dropped. At the 27-yard line, that is the 3rd sack for the Chargers.
Once again, Junior Seau is the man in there causing the problems. He comes up the field with that great speed, and he alters what Schroeder wants to do. Actually, Schroeder made a good athletic play to just get out of it. Look at where he's standing right here. He's standing on the 32. Now, if Junior Seau gets him, that ends up being a 50-yard field goal. So by getting back to the 27-yard line in the middle of the field, he gives Jeff Jager a much better chance at a field goal that would put them in the lead.
45-yard field goal attempt for the lead. A little squirrely.
Oh, my goodness.
Look at him. Whoa, take the deep breath, shake the head. You've got the lead.
Phil Necro would have been proud of that
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. By Ultra Slim Fast, a delicious, healthy way to lose weight. By First Brands Corporation, makers of Prestone Advanced Formula Antifreeze and STD gas treatment. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
The Raiders with a 1-point lead as Jaeger kicks off. And here is Donnie Elder on the return to the 20, the 25, the 30, the 40, the 50, the 30.
Dan Land going to get him.
Then he dives to the 7-yard line.
No flags, Charlie. No flags.
90 yards on the return. Unbelievable. And Dan Land ran him down.
Have you ever had 50,000 people get laryngitis at once? The crowd was back into this game, and Donnie Elder took him right back out. Look at the cavern in the middle of the field, and look at the blocks. Right there you can see pushing out there. Nice play by Junior Seau. Junior Seau on the kickoff return makes the big block, getting McCallum out of the way, and it's a foot race right here. Dan Land is able to catch Elder from behind. He shouldn't be looking back right there. That might have cost him.
That's that big bear got on his back at about the 20-yard line.
Yeah, but look right here, he looks back. He'll look back at Dan Land, and that costs him his stride. Land is able to hook up his heels right now, and now the Raider defense has to rise to the occasion and make him kick the field goal.
First and goal at the 7. Here's Bernstein to the 5. You don't like that call?
And I know he's a young quarterback, Charlie, but right there, if he goes with a bootleg or a play-action pass, he catches the Raider defense flat-footed. Just handing Bernstein the ball and putting him in the middle of the field. Now he's in a position where he probably has to pass, and the Raiders will be waiting for it.
Bernstein now at the 100-yard mark with 25 carries. And it is second down and goal just outside of the 5. And to say that Todd did not like that call is one of the understatements. The whole press box was shaking with your reaction. Here's the inside handoff to Loyce. He goes to the 3. It'll be third down and goal to go.
Chargers trying to go with some misdirection. They got about 6 yards on that play earlier, but with the field where it is, that's not necessarily a good call.
Why is that?
Well, because what happens is the direction you tell your defensive ends in this situation to not pursue, to stay back and to not get fooled, not have everybody over on one side of the field. So when he gets the reverse going in that direction, there are people waiting for him. He got some yardage, but it wasn't.
You don't like either of those calls?
Well, for Friesz's benefit, again, it's too much empathy for the young guy. I'm just saying it would have been interesting to give him a chance to have play action on first down when nobody would have suspected it. Now he has to throw.
Third and goal. And it is knocked away at the line of scrimmage. And he was very cautious, and Townsend decked him after the pass. I'm surprised I didn't see a flag.
Now Friesz is screaming at Townsend just for that. He wants that flag.
And he should get it.
Look at Friesz. He's pleading his case. Hey, he's no timid rookie, is he?
No, he's not. And he's got a good case.
Well, the point is that I think the argument there is that the ball was tipped. And so they're not going to give it to him. He's got a legitimate complaint because he does take a shot here.
Okay, the ball is tipped.
Well, we don't get a chance to see what happens.
21-yard field goal attempt for the Chargers. And it's good. And San Diego is back in front. And the margin is 2. Back in a moment. And right now it's a Sunday afternoon showdown. Chargers on top of the Raiders by 2. And here is Ron Brown with return, and he is up in it, and a flag is dropped. That was Anthony Shelton who got him.
And he was able to overcome a clip by Steve Smith. Ron Brown cuts to the other side of the field, and Anthony Shelton had none of it. Steve Smith hits him in the back, and he still is able to make the play. This will end up being half the distance, so the Raiders will be starting about the 8-yard line.
Number 84, kicking team. Illegal block. Number 35, receiving. Penalties offset. Free kick.
The Raiders caught a break there, Charlie. That would have been terrible field position starting at their own 8-yard line.
Now let's go back to the arm wrestling contest that we saw a minute ago between Townsend and quarterback John Friesz.
Well, the ball gets batted up in the air. Now watch Townsend. He's going after the interception. But right there, he thinks that Friesz is trying to hold him up, and he doesn't appreciate it, and so he flips him down. Now, I don't think he's got an argument. Right there, they're going to protect their quarterback, and Friesz is screaming about it. But Townsend's going after the ball, and he's pleading his case. It was not with any malicious intent. Friesz doesn't have an argument.
And he's also saying that Friesz is an eligible receiver in that case, and he can go for the interception, and so he's stopping it. But then it becomes defensive holding.
Plus the fact that if the quarterback holds Townsend from getting the interception, they could call offensive holding in that situation. So certainly Townsend has a beef.
So
by the way, Greg Townsend before the game,
yes, was valuable player.
Was named the most valuable player for the second consecutive year on the Los Angeles Raiders, formerly known as the Gorman Award of Excellence. Greg Townsend, you can see they're leading with 12.5 sacks. Also made the Pro Bowl for the first time in his career. And you and I have been talking all year about this is the best player to have never played in a Pro Bowl. Now he's there, and deservedly so.
Well, we rectified that mistake, didn't we?
And interestingly enough, in his contract, he had a clause that was to be reworked if he made the Pro Bowl. So maybe a happy Raider.
Maybe he'll take us to dinner. Brown on the far side, Holland on the near side for the return man. Oh, he nailed this one. And Holland will down it in the end zone, and the Raiders will start from their own 20-yard line with 11:20 left to go in the ball game. And San Diego leading 12-10. When the Chargers had the decision to go for the long field goal attempt and came up short, and the Raiders had pretty good field position, and then they drove down for their field goal, you know, at that point you could say you would question Dan Henning and the choice to go for that long field goal attempt of 54 yards. But then the 90-yard kickoff return, everybody forgot about that.
It's history, babe.
That's right. Wipe it out, makes it look good.
Yep.
Raiders now from their own 20-yard line. Marcus Allen is the remaining back. Bo Jackson is a wide receiver on the right side. And here is Bo. And he has 8 yards to the 28. It'll be second down and 2.
I had a chance to talk with Art Shell, and I said that you had two terrific pass catchers in both Bo and Marcus, but really they've been underutilized. And he explained to me that what they want to do is they want to get their wide receivers involved, keep their confidence level up, and get them the ball. But of course, as we pointed out earlier, the Raiders only average barely 20 passes a game anyway, so it's not as if they're trying to involve everybody in the passing game. But now, once again, you're right. There's Bo, flanked out to the right side.
Dalton Fernandez to the near side, and we've got whistles and flags. And while this is being sorted out, you have compiled over the season your all-pro team.
Yeah, these are what I call Todd's terrific. I decided that I wanted to sit down like everybody else, and hey, after all, I'm an analyst. I'm an expert, right? Here we go. Jim Lachey and Lomas Brown at tackles. Munchak, and as I mentioned today, San Diego, Courtney Hall. Bart Oates, the stalwart of the New York Giants at center. Randall Cunningham, who does everything. Thurman Thomas and Sanders at running back.
Wait. Okay. Don't just say Sanders and move on. We had a discussion. There were other ones in the running.
Well, when Jerry Robinson told me he'd been 12 years in the league and he'd seen the Paytons and the Dorsets, and this guy was the best, I had to put him in there.
We'll come back with the rest of them. Schroeder scrambles, and he's going to get back to the line of scrimmage. That's about it, and back to the Terrifics.
Now we see the special teams people. Nick Lowry with 33 field goals this year. Landetta punting in the bad weather. Mel Gray never quite getting his due. Eugene Seal is there for a lot of reasons, and one of them is not just because he covers, but he's great on the block teams, punt return and kickoff return as well. Bruce Smith is a given. Townsend we saw today. Inside you got Michael Dean Perry and Jerome Brown. On the outside you have Charles Haley, and right here today as well, Leslie O'Neal, a relentless pass rusher. Pepper Johnson Little on the inside, Lewis and McKyer on the corners, Mark Carrier, the league's leading interceptor, and Joey Browner as the strong safety.
And wide open is Tim Brown. Brown to the 46-yard line and a first down, converting on 3rd down and 6.
I don't know what happened to the coverage there. Somebody must have got picked, Charlie, because Tim Brown was wide open in the middle of the field. Tim Brown right here. He cuts up the field. See what happens. Sure enough, that's a big play by Ethan Horton. The ref missed it completely. Ethan Horton was not looking to run a route. If you get a chance to see, watch where his eyes are. If we can get a chance to run that back, fellas.
Let's save it. We'll go with it after the next play. Oh, he took Gil Byrd right out of the play.
Boy, he certainly did.
22 yards. First down. Raiders 46. And here is Bo Jackson, and he kind of leans to the 48, maybe the 49, and let's go back.
Take a look at number 88, the tight end for the Raiders. Watch Ethan Horton and watch him. Well, we're not going to get a chance to see him. It's before this.
Yes. We'll stick it in reverse, and we'll come back with it.
Stiff arm.
Yeah. Now we'll just recycle in the truck. We'll have that for you.
He's been taking a lot of stiff arms. He's the one that got stiff armed earlier by Marcus.
That's right.
Watch 88 at the left of your screen. Is he really running a route? Look at that left shoulder right into Gil Byrd.
He just knocked
Clearly a pick play.
Yes.
But like I said, what Ray Chester used to tell me, if you get away with it, it's a good play.
Here's Bo Jackson. And there goes Bo Jackson. First down, 34-yard line. And remember what Art Shell told us? He didn't play that much, but, you know, he'll get antsy at halftime. He'll be ready to run over some people.
And this is what the Raiders want to do with Bo Jackson. They want to get a mismatch in the secondary with people like Gary Plummer. Gary Plummer is a terrific inside backer. He makes a lot of stops in the middle of the field, but he is not a pass cover guy. And to ask him to go out on a Bo Jackson is a mismatch, hence the reason for the 18-yard gain.
And a first down at the Chargers' 34-yard line. San Diego leads it 12-10, just over 7.5 to go in the ball game. And they're ruling it a reception at the 29-yard line by Jackson, and the official was right there. That's Leo Miles, the head linesman, and he waited a little while to see if he did have it.
Boy, it makes you wonder if Bo knows stick 'em.
Does Bo wear gloves? No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have that tackified stuff on.
It'll be second and 5. Marcus Allen is in. Bo with a little breather here. And now I think they may take another look at that reception.
The thing you always have to look for is, are the hands underneath the ball? If the hands are underneath the ball, then it's a catch.
Clock is stopped. 6:57. Time remaining in the fourth. The replay booth. And again, they are looking at the replay of what we call program, of what you originally saw.
Watch where the hands are. Are the hands underneath the ball? That's what you have to see.
Hard to tell from that angle.
See, he has possession of the ball. He has possession of the ball, and the ball hits the ground. If he has his hands on it before it hits the ground, that should be a catch.
And Leo Miles, the official, had the perfect angle looking right into the catch.
See, too many times the fans take for granted now they'll watch the ball and they'll say, well, watch the ball touch the ground. That's incomplete. Wrong. Right there. That's a catch. Now, as he goes down and the ball hits the ground, that's okay. That's a catch because his hands are on the ball. He had control when he went down.
Bo today, 8 rushes for 7 yards. Oh, no, his total now is 9 rushes for 22. He had 8 rushes, a total of 7. He had 1 for 15, giving a total of 9 rushes for 22.
But I think that's his 3rd catch today, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
Gee, I love that. I love it when you
review the play stand. Second down.
We always make our review quicker than they do in the other booth.
I don't know. Why don't they tune in to us? Actually, I know why they don't.
Yeah, second, so do I. Second, and the folks at home don't have a choice. 2nd and 5. And here is Bo inside as he goes for 2 to the 27. So it'll be 3rd down and still 3 to go as we check out the 10-minute ticker.
Once again from the backside, Junior Seau making the tackle.
Cincinnati winning early. Washington over Buffalo. Atlanta over Dallas. San Francisco by 3. Giants by 3. And Miami 23-17 over the Colts. Those are all the early ball games. Seattle leading Detroit by 10. They still have a shot at the playoff. Denver big over Green Bay. And the Jets out in front of Tampa Bay. And here it is San Diego 12. The Raiders 10. Just over 6 minutes to go in the ball game. And here is Schroeder. This is a bootleg all the way. And he is dead.
Charlie, the idea was to get the ball to Steve Smith and throw him the ball, but Leslie O'Neal did a good job in coverage. And so Jay Schroeder, it was pretty much of a one-man pattern. That's who he wanted to go to. And when O'Neal had him covered, he had to stick it upfield.
And he picks up the first down.
Interesting to see how bad he needs to get this. Now take a look at Jay Schroeder. How many times you see quarterbacks slide? He knows he's got to get the first down. Take a look at what he does here. He lowers the shoulder, takes the shot from O'Neal, but gets the first down. They really got to have this game. And that effort right there is indicative of it.
5.5 to go. First down at the 23.
Despite his struggles, give Schroeder credit. He's a competitor.
Steve Smith.
I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but it is amazing to see Sayal come off that side and be involved in those plays. Number 55 keeps coming off the side and being involved in those tackles. I can see now where reputation can be everything. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, here's a guy who was a second-team Pro Bowl alternate, and he only had 73 tackles. Watch 55. Watch how fast he comes down the line and gets involved. They don't even bother to block him because they don't anticipate a defensive end being that quick. But there he is, in on the play.
Second and 8, 21-yard line.
Of course, come to think of it, he had a few pretty good games in this Coliseum when he was in college, didn't he?
He is on familiar turf. Played his collegiate ball for USC. And here is Bo Jackson. 17-yard line. So he has 4. It'll be third down and 4.
Time is now an issue, and it's on the side of the Raiders if you trust your field goal kicker. They're not in a hurry to get up or do anything else. In fact, what they would obviously like to do here is get a first down, take another 3 minutes off the clock, and punch it in the end zone.
This would not be a bad time for San Diego to stop the clock on this down and the next. If they hold him and force him to go for the field goal here, they could pick up an extra minute in time that they will need.
Exactly. Depends on what they do here if they run or pass.
To the 5, touchdown, Raiders.
Great call by Terry Robisky. Give him credit here. Misdirection play. Bo goes underneath. Leslie O'Neal out there wasn't able to get to Steve Smith, and neither was Sayal, all alone out in the flat. That was the play before where Leslie O'Neal had him covered and forced Schroeder to run. This time they got fooled. Smith for the touchdown.
And the extra point attempt. And it is good. And Jay Schroeder, who has struggled throughout the afternoon, and you saw that he personally picked up the first down, and his reaction will be back. Needs to be. As we come back, Donnie Elder will down the ball in the end zone, and he was the solo return man for San Diego.
And I was just going to say that was a propitious time for him to get that so deep, because if you recall the last time, the young man went 90 yards. They did not want this young man to get a return, so it was a good job by Jager kicking it that deep.
Significance of this ball game. Raiders now lead it 17-12. If the Raiders win, they're the champions in the West. They are off next week. They will have home field for their first game. If they lose, Kansas City, the champions, that means the Raiders, right now, I think they go to Miami and play in the wild card.
And if Bobby Beathard and Dan Henning wanted to see what this young man could do under pressure, now's their chance.
Drops off underneath the coverage to Bernstein, who has been a man for all seasons today. He has really had a great ball game.
But Steve Smith, check out Steve Smith, what he's done today. The opportunities he's had. We've been talking earlier about Steve Smith, that when he had a chance to get his hands on the ball, he would do something. 7 carries for 38 yards. That's only over 5 yards a carry. And the one time he catches the ball, he's in the end zone for a touchdown.
Second down. McEwen, and they will mark it at the 29-yard line, so it's going to be third down and 1 as Gary Lewis was there. The AFC picture looks like this. There it is.
Buffalo is assured of home field advantage throughout the playoffs. As you can see right there, Miami 12-4. What a terrific record for a wild card team. And as we mentioned, the Raiders would end up 12-4 if they were to win today. Because of the fact that they had beaten Miami earlier, if they had the same record, it would be at home. But as you can see right there, if they're to lose, they'd be a game behind.
And these are the 4 teams on the bubble. The reason if they are tied, you might wonder, Kansas City has defeated the Raiders twice. They go for the third and short, and they come up even shorter.
Ricky Ellison makes a great play knifing through, but this is 4-down territory.
Got to be.
I would suggest right here San Diego might want to use a timeout.
You're right. They need to stop and regroup. 2:49 stops the clock. Look at those eyes. They're ready. Tom Benson, Ricky Ellison on the stop. So this game is not decided yet. And this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, the San Diego Chargers, and the Los Angeles Raiders. All rights reserved. And right now, the right to be the champion is still reserved, although the Raiders lead by 5, 17-12.
One of the things that Dan Henning has to be thinking about over there is, quite frankly, we have nothing to lose. Sure, they want to get the first down, but if they were to jam it in there with their 3 tight ends and give them the illusion that they're going to run, a play-action fake just might fool that entire Raiders secondary.
4th down and 1 in the championship. After 17 weeks, that includes the bye, the off week that everybody had. And the championship comes down to this play.
Bo Jackson had a hand in that last drive, but not where you might have imagined. You would have thought that he would have been there running the football, but instead he was making some great catches.
And now he's leading the cheers. Here's Bernstein, and he's got the first down. And the hope to the Chargers to pull off the upset. Look at Bernstein take that pile with him.
The only problem, Charlie, is he's taking the pile with him. The clock keeps running. Now the young man, if he could get up to the line of scrimmage quickly and spike the ball, they'd have plenty of time. But as it is with 2 minutes, I think they're okay.
Bernstein now has rushed for 114 yards. And now we have the whistle. And the Raiders stop the clock at the 2:20 mark.
Oh, my.
Oh, I just did a quick count. They had 11 on the field. Was somebody out of position? Why would you call a timeout like that?
Usually in a situation like that, you might think there would be somebody injured, but I don't see anybody hurt.
Maybe they just wanted to regroup.
I think what might have happened over there when Bernstein was running, they went in with their wide receiver package. They went with their 3 wides, and of course, on that 4th and 1 situation, the Raiders had their short yardage package in. So when they went to their wide receivers and they had all their big people in, they didn't want to get caught short.
On that touchdown drive of the Raiders, let's not overlook what Jay Schroeder did on that drive. He's had a terrible day up until that point. He was 5 of 5 on that 80-yard drive, 70 yards through the air, and on 3rd down and 3, he ran for 4 and the first down.
Give him a lot of credit. It shows the competitor that he is, much maligned. You can hear the people starting to boo him a little bit when he was having his problems in the first half, but when they had to have it on that drive, he came through.
Love the cat.
I don't.
Freeze all the time in the world, and it is incomplete.
They're going to get holding on the right tackle there. Greg Townsend was coming upfield, and they just couldn't handle him. David Richards was out there trying to push him out, but he got his arm under, and they're going to call him for the hold.
And so with the hold, the ball would go back to the 33-yard line. It would be 1st down and 20. 2:13 on the clock.
Holding number 76, offense. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Broderick Thompson is the one who gets the arm under, and inevitably when you can get that arm under for a defensive lineman and it gets clamped, if the referee can see it, that's what they're going to call. They'll call holding. On the right tackle, you see there's Greg Townsend with the right arm under.
He does have
pushes him out to the outside a little bit.
That'll draw a flag.
Well, the referee saw it. Jerry Markwright's the one that saw it.
Ronnie Harmon stopped by Scott Davis. And we now will move to the 2-minute mark. So we'll take a timeout. Raiders 17, San Diego 12. We'll step away. We'll be back in a moment.
To make a first impression.
2 minutes to go in the regular season for the Raiders and 2 minutes to go on the season for the Chargers. San Diego with the ball, second down and 19.
Get a chance to look at John Friesz's numbers there. He started off a lot quicker. We had anticipated he'd have better numbers, but give credit to the Raider defense. But also, Charlie, I'm inclined to say give a lot of credit to these Chargers. They could have folded up and grabbed it.
Arthur Cox still on his feet, and he goes to the 38-yard line. Howie Long, his first tackle of the ball game as we go to New York, and Bob Costas.
All right, Charlie, here's Vinny Testaverde trying to rally Tampa Bay at home against the Jets. He'll hit Bruce Hill after evading the rush with a 7-yard touchdown pass. Brings Tampa to within 2 at 16-14 with about 3 minutes to play in that game. Charlie?
And Bob, as you were talking, Anthony Miller picks up the first down, going on a no-huddle, hurry-up offense, and Miller with a solo effort turned the corner 16 yards, and he has the first down.
Boy, did he show some serious speed. He cut to the outside, and everybody else was like they were standing still.
The ball at the LA 40. Now, this is to stop the clock. Let me go back. Let me go back, though, because you were shaking your head. I said Howie Long made the tackle. That wasn't Howie?
No, Arthur Cox ran right through him. The tackle ended up being downfield by Aaron Wallace. I wanted you to
correct it because, believe me, the press box shakes when my partner has a cogent point to make.
Take a look at the speed of Anthony Miller. This is actually a fairly conservative pass. He just squats right down. Now watch as he cuts to the outside. Watch this speed here. Terry McDaniel and Gary Lewis, two of the fastest players on the team, are left behind, and if he has a little bit more field east and west, he might go the distance.
First down at the Raider 46, 1:07 left. And Friesz is sacked. Scott Davis makes the play.
10th sack of the year for Scott Davis.
First for the Raiders today.
Going into this game, the Raiders were second in the league in sacks with 47, and now the Chargers are forced to use a timeout. That's the inexperience of the youngster because the sack actually stops the clock. He should have hurried his team up to the line of scrimmage and saved that timeout. From the backside, you see, there's Scott Davis coming through, another big play.
And this has been Scott Davis's year. He has really come on.
He's taken it to another level. He was one of those 3 first-round picks in 1988 when they had Tim Brown, Terry McDaniel, and this young man. Tim Brown, of course, was a given, makes the Pro Bowl his first year as a kick returner. Terry McDaniel started from day one as a cornerback for the Raiders. They wondered about this young man. But he's got the right coif. He's got his He-Man Masters of the Universe haircut, and I love it.
And Dave Adolph told us yesterday he has really matured. Art Shell said his techniques have improved. He's listening to the coaches now, which he didn't when he first came in.
And it certainly helps when on that defensive line you have veteran players like Greg Townsend and Howie Long to instruct you.
Dennis Mnuchin, our statistician today. Chuck Panama and Stan Otaka are our 2 spotters. Thank you, gentlemen. 1:02 is the time remaining. The ball at the San Diego 47-yard line. And for a first down, they have to go to the Raiders 36. And a stiff arm by Arthur Cox, and the clock is moving. He did not get out of bounds.
More importantly, Jerry Robinson did an outstanding job of tackling him before he could get out of bounds.
And the Chargers take the timeout, stopping the clock with 51 seconds left in the ball game. It will be 4th down and 11. A final that's just in. The Jets defeat Tampa Bay by 2, 16-14. And here it's all on the line. 51 seconds. Kansas City, the fans there, they're holding their breath. They want the miracle. Dan Henning told us last night, he said, if this young man has a great ball game, it will be a miracle. He hasn't had a great ball game. He's had a good ball game. And maybe as good as San Diego could play under the circumstances.
Exactly. Let's be fair. I mean, considering this team that has been playing so well, the Los Angeles Raiders, you got to give a lot of credit to the San Diego Chargers for the effort they put out today.
Incomplete. Raiders take over. They'll be the champions.
Charlie, this has been anything but a dull affair as had been anticipated. These 62,593 people that were here today got their money's worth. This has been a terrific football game.
And now all the Raiders have to do is run 45 seconds off of the clock. It'll take the countdown to make it official.
I think that young man has nothing to be ashamed of. He has nothing to be ashamed of. You can see the look on his face. He fell a little bit short, but he gave it his all.
And this man, Coach of the Year, what he has done with basically the same team as he had last year, and now they're champions of the West.
I agree. You got to give him his due. People are talking about all the talent on the Raiders, but they had the exact same people last year, and they went 8-8. Give this man credit in his first full season with the Los Angeles Raiders, taking them to 12-4, the best record they've had in the last 6 years since 1985. They are the AFC West champs and very deserving.
The final, the Raiders 17, the Chargers 12. The Raiders are the champions of the West.